It's been a lifelong dream of mine to climb a skyscraper.
Hey guys, welcome back to Enigma Climbing. I want to talk this morning about Alex Honnold's live broadcast of his attempt to free solo the Taipei 101 building in Taiwan. Specifically, is it completely insane or pure genius? In order to answer this question, I think we need to talk about three main topics here. Number one being the risk. Just how risky is this? Is he really endangering his life? Number two, why is he doing it? Is this just a publicity stunt? Is he a sellout? Is he doing it for the money? And number three, the ethics of it all, especially pertaining to his family. He has 2 young children now. And also, could he be steering the younger generation down the wrong path if they follow in his footsteps and end up dying? And I guess also, is it ethical for Netflix to be broadcasting something like this? What if they do catch a terrible tragedy on camera? All right, so going back to the first topic of risk. Just how risky is it to free solo this climb? Let's talk about the difficulty of climbing the building. Now I can tell you right now that compared to the things that Alex Honnold has free soloed in the past, things like Freerider on El Capitan, or Moonlight Buttress at the Zion, climbing the building is a piece of cake. I'm not sure how difficult it is. I read somewhere that it could be a 5'9", which is a rather beginner category in climbing. And also read somewhere it might have a 5'11" section. It's possible. That's not relevant really. What is relevant is that compared to Alex Honnold's repertoire, it is not a difficult climb. I wouldn't say the risk is zero, but I would say that the chances of him falling are less than any of us dying in a car accident throughout our lifetime, which I believe is about 1%. And yet we still got there and we take that risk. Think of this scenario. Let's say you have a sidewalk in front of you that's, we'll say, shoulder width apart, only 1 foot off the ground. So if you fall on either side, you just step off basically. There's no consequence. Half a mile down the sidewalk, you have $1 million. How many of you would attempt it? Probably everybody. There would not be a reason why you wouldn't. And if I asked you, what do you think your chances of success are? Most of you would probably say 100%. You could walk down the sidewalk that's shoulder width apart for half a mile to get to that $1 million. Well, now let's change this scenario up a little bit, and let's say instead of it being 1 foot high, you're a few hundred feet up or 1,000. No wind, by the way. Let's not put that into the equation. Now, how many of you would attempt that? I'm sure some of you will, but the number would drastically reduce. But the chances of you doing it, however, should still be 100%. Unless your mind prevents you from doing it. Unless you don't have enough control of your mind and you could potentially lose balance from that. See, that's the mind of a free soloist. They know that they can do the activity and they know that they can control their mind so they can accomplish the task. Would you walk on this for half a mile if the consequence of falling is death? Now, would you walk on this for half a mile if the consequence of falling was death? Okay, would you walk on this for half a mile if the consequence of falling was death? So the risk for Alex Honnold climbing this building, I would kind of say it is maybe like this sidewalk, where essentially he knows 100% that he could do it. And because he has trained his mental strength and his physical body to accomplish this feat, his mind is not playing tricks on him. He understands the fear, but he does not let the irrational side of that fear stop him. And like he says in his interview, the risk is very low, but the consequence is high. All right, now moving on to topic number 2. Why is he doing this? For the money? Is it a publicity stunt? Look, guys, you got to keep in mind that Alex Honnold has been free soloing before he was famous. He was free soloing before anybody really knew his name outside of maybe a small climbing community. And you got to keep in mind that climbing is how he makes his livelihood. Climbing is how he takes care of his family. And from what I gather, he makes a pretty darn good living. I think you should really admire somebody that has aligned their passions and personal goals so well with their job, essentially, with the way they make a living in this world. It's quite rare and quite beautiful when it happens. Don't forget, guys, that Alex Honnold would be free soloing this building even if he was just living in a van and not making any money from it. Getting recognition and making money from it is a bonus. So in that case, I wouldn't say he's a sellout at all. Come on, really, guys, how many of you would just love to make money through your passions? I think maybe some people might be a bit afraid and say, oh, well, I don't want my passion to turn into my job. Okay, well, many of you would, I think. And that's exactly what Alex Honnold has done. Admirable, inspirational. Whatever the case was, he realized that there was something in him that allowed him to really stand out from the others. And that was his ability to free solo. And he took it all the way with calculated risk, calculated training, and then made it into his job. Now, again, let's talk about risk. You know, yeah, it's risky climbing this building to a degree. It's risky driving your car. It's risky working in a job that you don't like, that stresses you out, that overworks you, that keeps you from living a healthy lifestyle. It's risky that a job like this could lead you to living with obesity and type 2 diabetes, heart disease. It's risky that your kids see you unhappy, and kids see this kind of stuff. I know from experience that your kids do look up to you, and if you live your life still with goals and aspirations of bettering yourself, it makes them do the same. They value this. They see it in you as a parent. And so really, I think it's riskier to not chase after your dreams and to not have big goals like this than it is to just stay home in what you could consider a safe job. I think the risk of being unhappy at work and unhappy in life and having your children pay the price for that is a lot higher than what Alex Honnold is doing with this free solo attempt. And may I add, the consequence of an unhappy life is also a lot higher. All right, so now let's talk about the ethics of it. First off, is it ethical for Netflix to broadcast this live? Potentially, if there is a tragic turn and he does fall, they're gonna catch it on camera. I'm sure they'll stop the broadcast though. Look, man, TV stations have been broadcasting dangerous things all the time. You know, what comes to mind is Evel Knievel and his stunts. NASCAR is quite dangerous. Heck, even football. Kind of guarantee that during a football game, somebody will get some kind of injury. So for Netflix, I really don't think it's going to be a problem. I mean, this is their business. That's what they do. It's going to make a lot of money for them. And no one's going to stop watching Netflix because they showed Alex Honnold free soloing a building. Come on. Now the question that pertains to his family, is it selfish of him to put himself in this risk and potentially put his kids in a situation where they grow up without a father? Well, I think we kind of answered this question already. This is his livelihood. It's his job, even though it correlates very closely with his passions and his personal goals. This is kind of the only way he can make a living. So it's not necessarily selfish. In fact, you know what? I would say it's not selfish at all. Just think of how many people have dangerous jobs. Construction, probably more dangerous than what he's about to do. Those people that work on those fishing boats, way more dangerous. Miners. You know, these people go to work all the time and they all have families, they all have kids. And again, I gotta go back to, it really is beneficial for kids to see their parents chasing their own life goals. It allows them to learn so much more than from you just telling them or them reading about it. Witnessing their parents going through the struggles, through the failures and through the successes is a huge life lesson. And it really gives them a good basis to follow you so that they can achieve their own goals and their own aspirations. And especially because the risk of climbing this building is quite low. Don't forget about that. In a case like this, Alex Honnold ends up being an entertainer, really, and people love entertainment. We watch sports, we love music, actors make so much money. Maybe not all of them, but you know, the famous actors, the famous pop stars, the famous athletes, they all make a ton of money. And so we value that. I think maybe we value it more than we should, actually, compared to jobs that really offer something to our society, that contribute to our society. Firefighters, police officers, doctors, dentists. You know, yeah, some of these jobs make okay money, but compared to being a famous actor or singer, an athlete, it's nothing. And so as humans, we value this kind of entertainment so much. And that's what he's doing right here. Is he's an entertainer. And last thing, what about his influence on the younger generation to follow in his footsteps and potentially cause someone to die? Well, I have to start like this. People have been free soloing way before Alex Honnold, and people will continue free soloing after Alex Honnold. I think as long as he is honest in what he does, the preparation that goes into it, candid about the entire process and how over the years he's been able to condition his body, his mind to do something like this with minimal risk, I think it's legit. You see, as individuals, in the end, it's still our responsibility to evaluate our life and what we think we should be doing. You can't really protect people too much. But as long as you tell them how it is, hopefully you give them a chance of making the right decisions. All right, after having said all of that, I would conclude that what Alex Honnold is doing is pure genius and not insanity. He has taken his passions, his life goals, and overlapped them very well with his livelihood. And that is to be admired. That's quite inspirational, I think. So good job, Alex Honnold. I wish you the best. I think you're going to do this task unscathed, without a problem. You totally got it, and I'm going to be very excited to watch what happens. Maybe later on in the future, we might see each other again and talk about teeth again. I don't know if he remembers that or not, but I met him on the top of El Capitan back in 2018. Oh, when I was trying to free climb the nose. Both him and Tommy Caldwell gave me some good advice, so highly appreciate that. Also want to throw a shout out to the OG of Skyscraper free soloing, Alain Robert. I think that's how you say his name, I'm not sure. But this guy has been climbing buildings forever. All right, that's all I gotta say. Peace out, guys. Tell me what you think.